First of all, I would like to apologize for the late upload. I had a lot of stuff to do in my personal life, like school, etc. And let's get started with the video. Another day, another video. What's up? Nothing but Net here. Welcome back to the channel. Today's a special day because it's the NBA trade deadline. Now we saw a lot of big names get traded, like Vucevic, Oladipo, Aaron Gordon, Evan Fournier, etc. And basically, this is one of the biggest trade deadlines I've ever seen in my life. And, it's a minor trade, some major trades that will possibly affect the landscape of the NBA. So we're gonna be talking about some minor trades, like not that much about the minor trades, because obviously we have to focus mostly on the major trades. Now the first minor trade we're gonna be talking about is the Hamidou Diallo trade, the Detroit Pistons for Svi Mikhailuk. Now this trade happened, I guess weeks ago, and it's not really that relevant. I mean, Hamidou Diallo is averaging 11 points a game. He's been really solid for the Thunder, and now that he's on the Pistons, I think he's gonna contribute to the team, especially that they're fading for Cade now. And Svi Mikhailuk to the Thunder, I don't think it will impact the Thunder that much. Svi Mikhailuk is a good 3-point shooter, a good perimeter shooter, and this does not a lot of impact that he will bring to the team unless he just like blows up in one game or in a span of games. So yeah, that's the first minor trade. Now this next minor trade is about JaVale McGee being dealt to the Denver Nuggets for Isaiah Hartenstein and a pick. And now Isaiah Hartenstein is a young center. He was with the Rockets before, and I believe that the Rockets should have used him a little bit more since he was a rookie at the time. But that's another story. Now JaVale McGee, he's back with the Denver Nuggets, and he did win the championship with the Lakers last year in the bubble, and he was pretty impactful as well. So like, since JaVale McGee will play backup center to Nikola Jokic right now, I think he'll be a pretty good backup. I think he'll impact in a good way, just like he did with the Los Angeles Lakers. And Isaiah Hartenstein to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think that since he is still young, maybe he'll get a little bit more playing time, and maybe he'll play solid minutes. Maybe he'll play good minutes and play pretty solid for the team. Maybe he'll impact the team in a small way. So yeah, that's all for the JaVale McGee trade. And the next trade is about the PJ Tucker to the Milwaukee Bucks trade. And in this trade, PJ Tucker and Rodion Skrulls got sent to the Milwaukee Bucks and for DJ Augustine and DJ Wilson. Both of the DJs from the Bucks get traded to the Rockets, and it's a picture involved. I'm not pretty sure what the picks were, but picks were definitely involved. And now, I would say about this trade, the clear winner of this trade is PJ Tucker, because he got to leave the Houston Rockets, who are a rebuilding team. Now you can't blame the Rockets if they're a rebuilding team, because James Harden clearly left them. He didn't want to be there anymore. The team was pretty broken already. Daryl Morey, Mike D'Antoni left. Yeah, the team was pretty broken. And like guys like DJ Augustine, DJ Wilson, I don't think they'll make a big impact on these Rockets, but they'll definitely make an impact on the rebuild. Like these guys, I don't see them. Obviously, these guys can be trade pieces. These guys can be waived possibly. I mean, DJ Wilson though, he's a young guy. He's a young power forward. He was pretty impactful for the Bucks at times. And he's from Michigan. He did play in that national championship game in which they lost. Sorry, Michigan fans. And you recently lost to UCLA, but that's for another story. And like he could be a trade piece. DJ Wilson could be a trade piece, and he could be solid at times as well. Maybe he can be a solid power forward for the Houston Rockets. DJ Augustine, he could be like he could also be a trade piece, and he won't impact the team that much like this season, but they'll impact the rebuild. You know, and the most important one, the PJ Tucker Milwaukee Bucks guy. PJ Tucker, like he's just glad that he left the Houston Rockets. He's glad that his teammates with Giannis not that nowhere be he won't be guarding him anymore, and he's pretty impactful for the Rockets as well. Um, Before James Harden left them, and like he can shoot the three ball. PJ PJ Tucker can shoot the three ball. He's a great defender. He's a good, not great, but a good defender. He's a solid defender, and he was pretty impactful for the Rockets in the playoffs. And I think now that he's in the Bucks, the Bucks are pushing for that NBA title. Giannis signed a max deal, and they're showing Giannis that he won't regret signing a super max deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. And Rodan Skurux, he got waived. I think he's not gonna be playing any minutes. So whatever. And that's all for the PJ Tucker trade. And this last minor trade that I'll be talking about is the Rajon Rondo to the LA Clippers trade for Lou Williams and the pick. And now Lou Williams said that he'll be considering retiring if he got traded away from the LA Clippers. He wanted to be a Clipper for life. He wanted to retire as a Clipper. He wanted to stay loyal as a Clipper. But when it comes to the trade deadline, no one is safe. Unless you're like top tier star players. I mean, except for Vucevic, who wasn't also who got traded because the Magic were rebuilding. But that's for later. And now Rajon Rondo, you know, Lou will not. By the way, Lou will. I don't think will be playing for the Atlanta Hawks because he might retire. But I hope he doesn't retire. He's not playing it, and as well as Rondo, he's not playing it. What about Rajon Rondo? Rajon Rondo can definitely impact this team. He was good in the bubble with LeBron, AD, and the Lakers. They won the championship with him. He playoff Rondo, playoff bubble Rondo, whatever you need to call him. He was definitely a huge impact on the team. And I still remember him. If he hadn't did a bounce pass to AD in the conference finals, they wouldn't have won the game. If he hadn't passed the ball to AD, they probably wouldn't have won the game. You know, against the Nuggets. And then he's joining the other side of LA. He's gonna be joining Kawhi Leonard, playoff P, pandemic P, and I hope. I hope I hope this if you're joining playoff Rondo and playoff P better be there and not pandemic P. Playoff P better show up. If you wanna play hard, grind to that title, and Rondo, he can probably impact the same way he did as he did with the Lakers. So that's pretty much it for Rondo. We haven't seen him playing yet, but that's my take for this last minor trade. And there's also some other minor trades that I won't talk about that much, like JJ Redick, Nico Melli to the Dallas Mavericks for James Johnson and Wesley Wundu. The Mavericks just added depth on shooting, more depth on shooting, and the Pelicans just basically got slightly worse by getting James Johnson and Wesley Wundu. James Johnson is a good defender. I don't know about Wesley Wundu. I don't know that much about him. And this other trade, the Corey Joseph DeLon Wright trade, not a huge impact at all. I don't understand. DeLon Wright has been playing good though, playing decent. So maybe the Kings just want this trade. The Marquise Chris to the Spurs for draft rights and Caddy Lalan. I don't know who that is, but I think Marquise Chris is out of this for the season. And Brad Wanamaker to the Charlotte Hornets. Not a big deal. And what else? I think that's pretty much it for the small trade. Oh yeah, Kevin Gailey to the Kings, Terrence Davis to the Kings as well, and Norman Powell to the Portland Trail Blazers for Gary Trent and Rodney Hood. Now, I call this a minor trade because it definitely will impact both the Raptors and the Blazers. But this is to me this is a minor trade. First of all, because there's not a lot to talk about except that both of these guys, like three of the players, will impact on the teams. And now let's move on to the major trades that happened in this year's trade deadline. Now, obviously, you're thinking of Victor Oladipo to the Heat, Vucevic to the Bulls, Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets, Fournier to the Celtics. Now, we're going to be talking about each of these trades. We're going to be breaking down each of these trades, and it's going to be a fun one. So, the first trade we're going to be talking about is the Nikola Vucevic to the Chicago Bulls trade. Now, this is the first trade I saw like before I was going to sleep. I checked Shams, I checked World for a while, I refreshed, there's nothing. Then I refreshed again, and then I was freaking out, man. I saw Vucevic get traded to the Bulls, and Vucevic, Nikola Vucevic, Al-Farouq Aminu for Wendell Carter Jr. and Otto Porter Jr., the two juniors of the Chicago Bulls that traded the Magic. Now, this is a trade that nobody expected. Like people did expect Vucevic. Like some people expected Vucevic to be traded somewhere else, or maybe like be kept with the Magic until the next season, or maybe like until free agency or the off season. But this trade is very unexpected. And the first person I saw who tweeted this was Shams. Shams was the first person who tweeted this, not Woj. Shams. Shams he dropped a Shams bomb. Instead of a Woj bomb, it says Shams bomb. Yeah, again, I was freaking out. I didn't expect that trade. And I was thinking, the Bulls got two All-Stars. The Bulls are going to be a playoff team, a potential playoff team. They're probably going to be like the 8th seed or a team in the play-in tournament. But I do expect them to make the playoffs, just not a top 5 seed or a top 4 seed, honestly. Maybe like a top 6, 7, or 8 seed. And then, Wendell Carter, Otto Porter. I mean, Otto Porter has a large contract. I mean, he is on an expiring contract, so that's a good thing. And Wendell Carter Jr. He is not like he hasn't exceeded the expectations of people or met the expectations of people when it comes to him playing for the Bulls. And I mean that is actually a scene for the Magic. The Magic are rebuilding, and getting Wendell Carter, you could you could develop him, you could make him better, make him better than he was in the Bulls. So that's really a good thing. And personally, in my opinion, I think both teams won this trade. Vucevic, Aminu, these guys are a good player. Vucevic is an all-star. Aminu is a good player. I don't know that much about Aminu, besides him shooting threes. And what else? Wendell Carter, again, as I said a while ago, a decent center that you can develop. He is a young center. Otto Porter, the Bulls got rid of the contract, the large contract, and Otto Porter can be a possible trade piece. I mean, he's been playing decent as well. So both teams definitely won the trade, but the one who got the slight edge is definitely the Chicago Bulls. And the next trade is going to be the Victor Oladipo to the Miami Heat trade. So this next major trade that I'll be talking about is the Aaron Gordon to the Denver Nuggets trade. And Aaron Gordon, Gary Clark to the Denver Nuggets for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton. Now, the winner of this trade is obviously the Denver Nuggets. They are missing out on Jeremy Grant. Everybody says they're missing out on Jeremy Grant. I can see it. I totally agree. If you don't agree, I don't know what's wrong with you. And adding Aaron Gordon to fill in Jeremy Grant's spot, since Jeremy Grant's obviously in the Pistons now, it's gonna add a little more depth to the front court. It will make the front court improve. Um, Aaron Gordon, he's a good offensive player and also a good defensive player, so it will also help out the defense on the front court. Now that you have like Jokic, who's an MVP candidate, and in my eyes, the MVP of the season, and basically it's a really good trade. It's a really good trade, and this is a trade that I expected to see. I mean, I expected him. I mostly thought that he would end up in the Boston Celtics, but now he's in the Denver Nuggets, and the Denver Nuggets pulling off this trade is a double V because again filling out Jeremy Grant's spot. Aaron Gordon, he can help with crucial plays like in crunch time. When you're guarding guys like AD, or power forward, mostly power forwards. AD, LeBron, who else? Giannis, um, Kawhi. He can play the forward too. Kawhi can also play the power forward position, and he can help with that defensive effort. And here's this picture right here. It's from a game called Basketball Legends 2020. You should try it. It's a really fun game. Um, you know, every player on this Magic team, basically like a big three, are all traded, are all gone from the team. So the Magic are basically in rebuild mode. And by getting Gary Harris, a solid defender for the Nuggets, and RJ Hampton, who is still young, he's not averaging the best numbers in his life. He's kind of struggling a little bit because of minutes, the minutes he's being given. But I think RJ Hampton, he has a lot more time to develop. He is young, and he might be um, a solid impact, a really good impact for the Magic going forward. And this last trade is about the Evan Fournier to the Boston Celtics trade. And in this trade, Evan Fournier get traded to the Celtics for Jeff Teague and two second round picks. When I look at this trade, it's like you got Evan Fournier, Celtics won. The like in Evan Fournier's recent Celtics debut, he scored 0 points. But it's only the first game. I mean, maybe he could score like 20 the next time or something. I'm not really sure. But like the Celtics, no, not the Celtics. The Magic got completely robbed. They waived Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague now signed with the Milwaukee Bucks, and those two second round picks are worth nothing. I don't think that those second round picks will turn into like somebody like Michael Brogdon, who was a second round pick and won Rookie of the Year. Now is having 19 points a game. I don't think that will happen. But I mean, it might, but I don't guarantee it will happen because there's a small possibility of that happening. And like when I look at this, Evan Fournier's value, I don't think it's a value like Jeff Teague and two second round picks. I don't think it's that much value for him. Like that's pretty small value for Jeff Teague for Evan Fournier if you ask me. Like based on 2K's ratings, like I'm gonna look at 2K's perspective. This is like a trade that like this is a trade where Evan Fournier is like a 2.5 star, no, 3.5 star or a 3 star value. I mean it's a good value, but it's pretty small for a guy like him. He's averaging the best numbers in his career, 19 points a game, almost 20 points a game, and he's shooting efficiently. And I mean he scored 0 for 10 in his first game with the Celtics, but that's only his first game. And that's pretty much a W for the Celtics and an L for the Orlando Magic. I mean, again, they're rebuilding, but like Jeff Teague is in the Milwaukee Bucks. You waived him, so like it's like you just didn't get nothing in return. Like you just got nothing. You literally got nothing. And this last trade, a very major trade that could change the landscape of the Miami Heat, is the Victor Oladipo to the Miami Heat trade. Now, Victor Oladipo has more value than that, but I'm surprised that Pat Riley was able to pull off this move, but just by trading Kelly Olynyk to match the salary, and also Avery Bradley and a pick. I don't know if it's a second or a first, but I'm pretty sure it's a second more than the first. For Victor Oladipo, that's it. Straight up, that's it. Two players to match a contract and a pick for Victor Oladipo. Highway robbery. Now, now I'm not a Rockets fan or a Heat fan, but you gotta be honest. Like, look at it. Look at that trade. This, the Rockets got robbed. They are a rebuilding team again, but that's just the biggest robbery ever. I mean, Kelly Olynyk, he's a stretch big. He can shoot the three ball. Um, what else? Avery Bradley, he was good for the Lakers in last season. He was able to obtain a championship ring, even though he didn't play in the bubble. But he was still part of the Lakers roster, and he was a pretty good impact to the team, just about winning games. And Victor Oladipo, now on the Miami Heat side, by just adding Victor Oladipo to the roster, is gonna change everything. Victor Oladipo, 6'4", he's a shooting guard, and he's really good defensively. He was I believe, a 2017-2018 season steals champ, and he was also on the all defensive team. So Victor Oladipo is not only a good offensive player, but really good on the defensive side. And you're gonna have a lineup of Goran Dragic, Oladipo, Jimmy Butler, um, Nemanja Bjelica, or Precious Achua. I'm not really sure who they're starting on the power forward position, and Bam Adebayo. That's a really good starting lineup. And they're currently the fourth seed. I think they're gonna move up, like third seed, or no, not third seed. Maybe that's like the Bucks position or something. Maybe they're gonna be like the fourth or the fifth seed. Going forward, Oladipo. That's a pretty good trade. You know. And speaking of the Miami Heat, they also traded a few weeks. They traded Myers Leonard and the pick for Trevor Ariza. And Trevor Ariza, he's been playing solid for the Miami Heat as well. He's made his debut. He's already played a lot of games for the Heat, and he's playing pretty decent. And Myers Leonard, he's out for the season with a shoulder injury, and he's basically not on the roster anymore. The Thunder waived him recently, you know, and like because of that one live stream, because of that one Call of Duty live stream when he said something that we cannot mention here, obviously, I think it ruined his career. Like, damn, bro, like, wow. So like, basically, the Thunder just didn't get anything and just waived him. Basically, just like the Magic. The Magic waived Jeff Teague and got nothing in return. Like, no, like, from the Evan Fournier trade, you didn't get anything because you like gave it all away. In this Trevor Ariza trade, the Thunder got rid of Myers Leonard. I mean, Myers Leonard, I don't like. He's good, he's decent, but I don't think he will impact the Thunder that much. Like, if he was healthy, he won't impact the Thunder that much. But like, maybe in the rebuild process, he could be a trade piece, for the Thunder's rebuilding. And like, that's all for the Miami Heat side. And now let's look at, like, I'm gonna be talking about the surprises, like trades that I thought would happen. Now, obviously, you saw Kyle Lowry didn't get traded. He even put up the peace sign, and I think he was emotional because, like, that was gonna be his last game as a Raptor, and like we all saw it in front of our eyes. But like the Lakers, they were offering players. I think like Kyle Lowry was being offered to the Lakers for THT, Talon Horton Tucker, but the Lakers refused. And this is like Alex Caruso, bro. This is like guys you hyped up. Like, I think these guys are overhyped. I think the memes about them, they're getting old, but it's funny still. Like Talon Horton Tucker, like he's decent. They think that he can develop. He's 20, so he has a much time to develop, and he could be like a solid player moving forward for the Lakers if LeBron retires, or not if LeBron does, like when LeBron retires, and like Kyle Lowry, I don't know if he's gonna be traded to the Sixers from Miami Heat, but like you know, Masai Ujiri and the Raptors, they just didn't get the package that they wanted. You know, but like I'm glad that Kyle Lowry stays as a Raptor. I mean, I'm not a Raptors fan, but like it's pretty sad to see him get traded on his birthday. He's born March 25th. That was the trade deadline. Kyle Lowry was about to get traded on his birthday. That would make his day worse, man. Just make his day bad. So I'm just glad that he didn't get traded. You know, I think he's like one of the greatest shadows of all time, and you know, I'm just glad he's staying in Orlando. I'm just glad he's staying there. But he might get moved next season. You know, we'll never know. And then the next guy, you know, the last guy I'm gonna be talking about is Lonzo Ball. I thought he was gonna be traded, like any last minute moves or anything. None. Like he didn't get to the Bulls. Like after I saw the Vucevic trade, I thought they were about to get Lonzo Ball and go all in for this playoff run, but they didn't get Lonzo Ball. You know, so like Lonzo Ball's on an expiring contract. He a restricted free agent, so that means the Pelicans can match any offers from him that are given to him. You know, but I think Lonzo doesn't want to play. I mean, LeVar just said that Lonzo doesn't want to play for the Pelicans. But like, you'll never know. Like, if Lonzo actually said that or LeVar just said that because he doesn't like the Pelicans. You know, I mean, at the same time, I'm also glad that the Pelicans didn't trade Lonzo Ball because like, you have this core of him, Lonzo, Zion, and Brandon Ingram. You know, you have a really good core for the future. You know, I mean, they're pretty bad right now. Like, they're not winning that bunch of games. You know, like I thought they're gonna be like a playoff team this year with the Zion without the minutes restriction. And like, you know, Lonzo Ball, like I'm just glad they kept him because moving forward, it's gonna be a solid playoff team, possibly a championship team. You know. And yeah, that's all for the trade deadline special. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new, turn that like button blue. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you all next video. Peace.